Hey guys, what's up? Oscar Hernandez here with the One Heart Project. I'm super excited to make this video. We've been trying to come up with different ways that we could reach out to you. So here it is. This week, I'm going to do these weekly, right? So this week, we're going to talk about integrity. It's a word that you guys have heard me say and have heard me explain a few times, but I really want to break it down, man. Integrity is something that if you learn now can be useful throughout the rest of your life, right? Not just in your teenage years, but as you become an adult, as you become a parent, as you get into the professional world, right? And whatever you want to be. You know, integrity is something that a person has to have throughout their entire life for whatever they want to become. Right? So I'm going to give you a few examples of why integrity is important. So let's just say you have a vehicle. We'll just a 2000 Toyota Camry, right? A 2000 a vehicle that was made in the year 2000 is now 20 years old. So vehicles, they're not made to last a lifetime. I wish they were, because they're super expensive, but they're just not made to last a lifetime. So what the creative minds have done behind making the vehicles, they make replacement parts, right? So let's just say your vehicle goes down and you need a new alternator, right? If you don't know how to change an alternator, you're going to have to take it to a mechanic. If you don't have any tools to change an alternator, you're going to have to take it to a mechanic. There's different things that go behind it and which require a professional to change out an alternator, right? So if you take it to a mechanic, you're going to trust that the mechanic has the integrity to fix your vehicle the right way. You're going to trust that he takes the time and he's qualified and he understands the mechanics of your vehicle, of taking everything apart before he gets to the alternator, and then putting the new alternator in and putting everything back together, right? You're going to give him money with the understanding of whenever you get your vehicle back, you're going to put your key in there and it's going to turn on. I bet you'd be really upset if you gave somebody your money with the expectation of them fixing your vehicle and you put your key in that thing and it doesn't turn on, right? There's going to be a problem, right? So you're expecting that the mechanic has the integrity behind his business, so the work could be done in a professional manner, right? So that's just an example. So now let's put it on the other end. Now let's say that you're the mechanic, and that's the way that you are making money to provide for your family. Everybody wants to live in a home. Everybody wants to have a vehicle. Everybody wants to eat food, man. Let me tell you, that's my favorite thing to do. I love eating food, right? So fortunately, there's a way for us to get that, and we would have to use money to buy stuff, right? You got to use money to pay a mortgage monthly, right? You got to use money to get a vehicle and pay for the monthly payments. And then also eating, right? Because I'll tell you what, if I eat a meal right now, in 30 minutes, I'm going to be hungry again. So I'm going to need money to buy some more food, right? So let's say I'm a mechanic and I would have to have integrity, right, behind my work, because I probably won't be able to survive off of one job. Let's say I make $200 off of one job. I won't be able to survive the rest of my life with that. So I would have to use integrity so people could know that I do good work and they could refer their friends to me. Would you refer your friend? Would you tell your friend to go to somebody that you know is going to rip them off? Would you send your family to somebody that you know is going to rip them off? Definitely not, right? You wouldn't send your people in for a trap. There's no way. Right? So whenever you become an adult and you go into the professional level, and whatever that you do, you want to use integrity behind it. You want to have integrity so you can continue to gain clientele, so you can continue to be the person that your boss calls on. and the revenue can continue to flow in. Most people that get promotion at their job is because their boss knows that they have integrity, that their boss knows that they're going to do the right thing while nobody is looking, right? A lot of people do the right thing while people are looking because we're expected to do the right thing when somebody's looking, right? But integrity is doing the right thing when no one is looking, right? So I want to go into the definition of integrity. I looked up integrity on Google earlier, and here's a few definitions of it. Let me grab some water real quick. So one definition of integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. So integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. You know, it's kind of hard to believe that integrity is a quality. Quality means that something is great, means that something's going to last a long time, right? And so it's the quality of being honest. So I know when I was in the streets and when I was messing up, when people would describe me, they would use words like drunk, thief, a person who would get arrested all the time, dummy, fool. They would use those words to describe me. But could you imagine when somebody brings up your name, them using the word integrity or them using the word honest? You know, whenever I'd walk through the door and I'd see somebody I know next to somebody that I didn't know, I could always tell by the look on their face that they heard something bad about me. But now that I walk through the door and go somewhere and I see somebody that I know next to somebody that I don't know, I can always see in their face now that they think highly of me because the person that I know probably described me in a good manner. They've either told them that I'm a pretty good guy or that I used to be a mess up and now I'm a pretty good guy, right? So just imagine being described like that, right? I know it hurts. It used to hurt my feelings because I felt like I had a good heart. I just didn't know how to be a good person. But people would describe me in a way that would be demeaning. But what I would do is I'd put up another layer of anger to pretend that I didn't care what people were thinking about me. All right. So another definition of integrity is the state of being whole and undivided. Excuse me. So another quality of integrity is being sound-minded, is understanding what you want to do and understanding that you know how to do it, right? So being whole and being undivided is really important. So whenever I was messing up in the streets and I was being a knucklehead, I wanted to be a good person. So if part of me would do the right thing, and most of the time it was whenever I was in front of somebody, and then a part of me would do the bad thing, and most of the time it was whenever nobody was around. You know, thieves don't steal in the daylight. They do stuff when nobody's looking, but they still get caught. And our mind would trick us into thinking like, hey, I could do it right now while nobody's looking. Nobody's here anyways, right? And that's how I would get caught, because if you steal somebody, you most likely took it from somebody that knows that they had it. So you put yourself in these positions where you really told on yourself. You dined yourself out because you were the only one in the place that took it. And the person who knows it, that it was theirs, doesn't have it anymore. And they start putting two and two together and understand that you took it, right? So I would get myself in trouble like that all of the time, right? But I wouldn't do it in front of people. I'd do it behind their back. So I had this double-mindedness. So now that I think with a whole mind, I am trusted now, because it doesn't matter whether I'm in front of somebody or there's nobody there. If you leave something on the table, I will not take it. Or if you leave something on the table and there's a whole bunch of people around, maybe 2 or 3 people around, and you take off, I make sure now that your stuff is held and given back to you, right? A third definition for integrity is internal consistency and the lack of corruption, right? I remember back in the day, I would try to do the right thing, and man, I'd go 2 or 3 days doing the right thing, maybe 4 or 5 days doing the right thing when I wasn't hanging around with my friends that were messing up. But as soon as I'd hang out with my friends that were messing up, maybe not even as soon, maybe it was a couple bad ideas into it, 2 or 3 bad ideas, and then I would get tricked into, okay, maybe this time I could do it. I've gotten away with it before. And then I start doing it. And then it would get me into a whirlwind of this negative activity and these negative things that I'd start getting into. And I would get in trouble all over again. Right? So I wasn't consistent with doing the right thing. Consistency means you're constantly doing something. Right? And then it says internal consistent and the lack of corruption. So constantly doing the right thing without having any corruption, right? It's hard to do. I can tell you it's hard to do at the beginning, but it's kind of like working out. You know, once you start working out, the very beginning, you could probably give 10 push-ups in. You know, you guys are way stronger than me. I'll just say y'all could get 20 push-ups in, right? And then you need to take a break. And then, you know, the next day you get 25. The next day you'll get 30. You'll constantly get stronger because you're working out your muscles. And your body is saying you can do one more. You're tricking your mind into doing one more. Right? So our trust is a muscle also. Our trust needs to learn how to trust more. So if you can trust that doing the right thing will not get you in trouble and get you further along day by day, you know, in a week or two, in a month or two, your trust will become so strong, and you would understand that being a good person, having integrity, doing the right thing when no one's looking can catapult you into your future. When you start out doing it as a teenager, imagine what it could do to you whenever you start using integrity in your career. Promotions don't come because a person says, hey, I can do this. Promotions come when a supervisor sees that a person can do the job and do the job while nobody is looking. So here's another definition of integrity. And it says, integrity is not something that you show others. It is how you behave behind their back, right? So you cannot convince somebody that you have integrity, right? Because we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And the reason we have 2 ears and 1 mouth is because we can listen. We need to listen twice as much as we talk, right? I've never had to tell my bosses how good I am at work. That's just not the type of person I am. I'm not a yes man. I can't be forced into doing anything. That's just not my style. I have a backbone. I'm gritty, and I like to get after it. Right? So I've never kissed butt in order for a promotion. What I've done is just work my butt off. Right? And your work will speak for itself. My bosses know that they can give me a task and they could leave and come back, 5, 6, 7 hours later, and they know that I'm going to follow every safety rule and I'm going to get the job done with 100% quality, and I'm going to do it at the best of my ability. They also know one thing, that if I don't know how to do it, I'm not afraid to ask. Sometimes life, we feel like we're all by ourselves because we've been hurt by different people that we've crossed paths with. We may have been hurt by different family members that we were real close to, right? But there's enough good people out there. Your probation officer, teachers, there's enough different people out there that you can reach out to. Listen, not all of us know everything. I'm still learning something every single day. Every single day. But I keep my mind open to it. Right? So don't be afraid to ask questions. I'll ask my boss. I'll ask my boss, hey, I don't know how to do this. Do you know how to do it? And there's times where he can answer my question, and there's times where he can't, and we got to go somewhere else. But I'm not afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And with the technology that we have nowadays, you can Google a ton of things. You can also YouTube inspirational speeches, right? So what I want you to do right now is I want you to grab a paper, and I want you to grab a pen, a pencil, something to write down with, because I'm going to give you seven key items of integrity. But I want you guys to write these down, and I want you to make a little explanation of them as we go through. And a mentor will call you during the week, and you could go over these things with them. These key items of integrity are awesome. Right? So I'm going to give you a couple seconds to go grab a paper and a pen, because we're going to get interactive. Yeah. So the key question that I want you to write down is, how do you show integrity? All right, I talk about integrity all the time. It's something that really means a lot to me. And it's something that I did when I didn't even know what the word meant. I found out what the word integrity meant at 27 years old. And the reason I found out what integrity meant was because one of my bosses described me with it. I overheard him talking about me to somebody else, and he used the word integrity. And I looked it up. And when I looked it up, man, it almost brought tears to my eyes, because somebody finally talked good about me. I was used to people just talking bad about me, and somebody finally said something awesome about me, and man, it brought tears to my eyes. So are y'all ready for this? So I want you to write down, how do you show integrity? So one way to show integrity is to keep your word. If you say you're going to do something, do it. And I don't mean this in a gangbanger way, right? I remember I used to always hear these fools, man, if I said it, I'm going to do it, man. If I said it, I'm going to do it. Now, I don't mean it that way. Listen, if you say, because I know a lot of times we get caught up and somebody will ask us for help, and we just say, yeah, I'll help you, right? Just so they can be quiet, right? But listen, if you want people to think highly of you, you keep your word, right? Keep a good word, right? If you say something bad, like you're going to do something bad, like I won't ever talk to you again, you could break that word and talk to the person. But if you say you're going to do something good, like if you tell your mom, yeah, you know what, every time I get home, every other week, I'm going to cut the grass. Keep your word, right? Whenever you get a job and you tell your boss asks you to do something like, hey, pick up that trash before you start working, and you say, yes, sir, just knock it out. Keep your word, right? The second one is keep your commitments. As you grow older, you're going to start being committed to different things, right? And it may be at school, It may be in a volunteer aspect. It may be whenever you get a job. You're going to have certain commitments that you'll be expected to stick to, and you keep them. Listen, life is wild. Some things are always going to come up. But if you tell somebody that you're going to do something, you do it. The third one is pay attention to your environment, right? You have the opportunity, whenever you go somewhere, you got the opportunity to either be the thermostat or the thermometer, right? You're probably like, what are you talking about? Listen, the thermometer checks the temperature. The thermometer tells you what the temperature is. It's hot, 90 degrees, or it's cold, 60 degrees, right? But the thermostat goes in and regulates the temperature. You could if it's 60, you could bring it up to 70. If it's 80, you could bring it down to 70. So whenever you go somewhere, you watch your environment. And if things aren't going the right way, you step in and you say something. At work, whenever you get a job, this is very key to me, because at work, we deal with a lot of safety issues. I work in industrial construction, and there's opportunity for people to get hurt all the time. And we got this program, which is called Stop the Job, right? You can walk up to somebody. If you see them doing something wrong, you could go up to them and say, hey, I'm stopping your job task because something's not going right here, right? So whenever you going into an environment and you see something that's not right, you can stand up and say, hey, I'm not going to join in this, and you can take off, right? You have that opportunity. Don't ever feel like you don't. So whenever you go into a place, remember that you are the thermostat. All right. Next one's going to be stay focused, right? There's a lot of things that are happening in the world right now. And let me tell you this, man, I've been alive for 35 years, and there's always something. There's always something happening. But if you stay focused, and if you stay prepared, because if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. If you stay focused on what you want to do, then nothing else can bother you. I kind of look at these things as a bump in the road or as a hurdle, right? A bump in the road might slow you down for a little bit, but you'll still get to where you want to go. A hurdle, you may have to jump over it, but you'll still get to where you want to go if you stay focused. The fifth thing is surround yourself with honest people, right? Oh man, when I was in the streets, I had a whole bunch of homies. I had a bunch of them. But I knew that if I turned my back, there was a chance that something that I had would get stolen. I knew that if I didn't have everything I cared about in my pockets, there was a chance that something I had was going to go missing. I knew that people, I knew that what people would tell me wasn't always the truth. So back then, I would only believe you if I saw you doing something. could never believe anybody. I would never believe anything coming out of people's mouth. But those are the people that I chose to hang out with. It was wild. I knew I couldn't trust them, but I still chose to hang out with them. Once I started moving away from them and surrounding myself with people that I know are truthful, that would tell me honest things even if I didn't want to hear it. I used to have friends that would just let me mess up back to back to back to back. Now I got friends that if I mess up, they hold me accountable, they stop me, and they help me out. The streets are full of what I call crabs in the bucket, right? You see there, I don't know if you could just envision this. Envision a bucket with crabs in it, right? And one crab gets to the lid of the bucket and the other crab grabs them and pulls them down, right? Because the other crab is just worried about himself. You know, every crab for themselves. You have the opportunity to surround yourself with people that want to see you succeed. You want people that reach the top of the bucket but look back at you and pull you out of the struggle, right? By being honest and by being truthful and willing to help. Surround yourself with people that are going to be honest with you. Number 6. This is the tough one. Sounds easy. It's tough. Take responsibility. Man, when I was wild, I used to blame everybody else for my problems. And you know what? Sometimes it may have been legitimate, but I chose to do the action that got me in trouble. Right? Sometimes they say that we're a product of our environment. You know, monkey see, monkey do. We start doing things because we've seen people older do things, or we've seen our friend do things. When my kids get in trouble, the first thing they say was, my sister did it, but my brother did it. You know, that to either get their other sibling in trouble first, or to make the punishment a little bit less, or they could both get in trouble, right? So they just, excuse me. They're just not willing to take responsibility. And I wasn't willing to take responsibility back in the day. Right? But once I learned that I may have been influenced in the wrong way, but I still made the choice. So I'm going to say that again. Once I learned that I may have been influenced the wrong way, but I still made the choice, my life grew exponentially. Because then I knew that whatever choice I made was wrong. But now I have the opportunity to make the right choice. My past doesn't define me anymore. I'm not that person. I'm brand new. Once I learned that I was brand new, my life grew exponentially. All right. So number 7, the final one. Respect peers and adults. Respect goes a long way. Respect will take you very, very far in life, right? But you have to give respect to show respect. And sometimes you have to give respect even when you're disrespected. What I've learned now is that it doesn't matter what somebody else says about me. There's only one, there's 8 people that I care what they think about me. That's my wife and my 7 kids. I just worry about what they say about me. I'm not worried about what anybody else says about me. And if I know somebody's talking bad about me, I'll still smile and put my hand out to shake their hand. Because they don't know the new me. They don't know who I am now. But I have the chance to prove myself to them. And hey, if they still don't like me after that, okay, doesn't matter. They don't live on my roof, right? So respect others, respect your peers, and respect adults. Hey, once again, this is Oscar Hernandez with the One Heart Program. I'm signing out, and I hope to see y'all soon.